Okay, hey everybody, this is Scott in Iowa at Jingle Cross. This is bright and early Saturday morning. The Cat 5 and gravel grinders have just rolled in like a herd. Very noisy, very excited, and they're doing their what looks like warm up, getting ready to go out on the course, do their races. Some spectators showing up already. This is, of course, the big day at Jingle Cross, the World Cup today. Last night, what I want to talk about, though, a little bit is last night, what happened yesterday and last night. So early in the day, huge thunderstorm comes through. Just dumps rain. As hard of rain as you can think of, coming down. Skies were dark. It was bad. It was short, but it was still a huge amount of water that got dumped on the course very early in the day. Over the course of the day, so that tacked up the course really nicely. Over the course of the day, that slowly started to dry, but then, as we got into, as you know, the night races are Friday at Jingle Cross. The temperature started to drop significantly. So, and the humidity is, I don't know the actual number, but I'm sure it's 80+%. So, as those temperatures dropped, all the condensation, and it became so wet that it really made tire choice, pressure choice a real tough thing to decide. So a lot of people doing lots of different things, kind of interesting, all the way from running full Limas to combinations of file treads to mid treads, a lot of baby Limas I saw, a lot of Griffos. That kind of stuff. I'm talking late in the day, at the end of the day. I was pitting for the Texar Canadian Tyler Cloutier. We did not have a great day. We had Tyler's bikes ready to go. He had a good warm up. Of course, remember, it's night, it's dark. This race started at 9 o'clock. He had a good warm up. Everything was cool. I had all my stuff, pit wheels, all that stuff. But he was running Baby Limas, and this race was incredibly fast. All right. Well, just quickly, I'm going to hit you guys with the results. The women's elite race. I'm just going to do the elite races, of course. The men's and women's actually, and the women's race was a little bit earlier. I think it was 7:45 starting time. Winner there in that C2 was Jennifer Jackson, the Canadian, 24-year-old racing age. Second place was Manon Baker, I think it's pronounced. She's from the Netherlands, age 20. And in third place was Raylan Nuss. Other riders of note that we follow a lot, Sunny Gilbert. We're going to be talking to her husband, Doug, in a little bit. I'm going to play that recording for you. Actually, from last night, it was like midnight. He and I were sitting out at their in front of their Pactamo team trailer, which is beautiful, by the way. And we just kind of chatted for a little bit. So I'm going to add that to the end of this. And then in seventh place was Amanda Nauman getting back into it. So that was good to see. And yeah, just scrolling down here really quick. A bunch of good riders in that race, as always on that Friday night race. But Beth Ann Orton was 13th, so that's really cool. Emily Werner was 14th. So there we go with that. So, yeah, the women's race I didn't really get to see the women's race because I was prepping Tyler, of course, and getting ready. I could just hear it. It's, for some reason, this is under the Musco lights, as always, here at Jingle Cross on Friday. And for some reason, the announcer isn't as loud this year. So it was really, you couldn't really hear. You could just hear the crowd cheering and stuff. And that was it. So, all right. In the men's race, like I said, so Tyler was running his Baby Limas. He actually, at one point, coming down a drop, said he lost tension on his chain and it came off. So he got that back on. So that dropped. He was running about 7th at the time. So he got that back on, got going again, hits the first corner he hits, slides out. He goes down. He had to come in. He did a bike exchange. My buddy Craig North was catching for me because my hand is still not great. I could catch if I had to, but it was nice to have somebody there to catch these bikes when they come in at that speed. So Craig caught the bike. We got him off on his backup bike, but his rear shifter was just destroyed. It was. I got it. I shouldn't say destroyed. I got it shifting again, kind of. It would have been good enough if something else had happened and he needed to get on something just to get to the finish. But he ended up not doing that. I told him as he went by, I was like, "Hey, try and finish on that bike if you can. And he nodded and smiled. By this time, after that crash and no shifting for half a lap, he was way back in the high 20s, and I think he actually dropped back a little more just because he couldn't couldn't get it going again. But it was brutal. I mean, the efforts that everybody put out there, Tyler included, were amazing watching that race. So in that men's race, first place, the Belgian Lander Laux, I think it's pronounced, 22-year-old. Second place, Steve Chanel, the French rider, of course, that we've talked about before. And in third place, from Spain, Felipe Ortiz Loret, I think it is. Fourth place was Lucas Winterberg, Swiss rider. Fifth place, Mike Vander Heiden, something like that. And in sixth place, the first American finisher was Grant Elwood. So that was cool. Tobin Ordenblad. I tell you what, that guy was like everyone, like I just said, the guy was giving it everything he had. He got eighth place. He doesn't look like the Tobin of old yet. From a couple years ago, but you can really see he is putting everything he has into it. And if effort was anything, he would have been right up at the top of this race. Right behind him in ninth was Caleb Schwartz. His dad was pitting for him right next to us, so we got to chat with him for a little bit. And also for Grant Elwood, of course, Drew Esherick was pitting, and we shared the pit lane, so we got to chat with him a little bit too. So. That's the main riders that I want to mention. If you looked at the registration page on Bike Reg, Hyde was registered for this, but everybody kind of knew he wasn't showing up because the Cannondale tent went dark about 3 or so hours before the race, maybe 4 hours before the race. So you knew, unless Stephen Hyde came out of some barn somewhere, that he wasn't going to be there. So, but it was a great race, great, just brutal. The conditions were just brutal. The temperature dropped. There was a difference in conditions and slipperiness of the course from the beginning of that race to the end of that race, just with the way that those temperatures dropped, and you could just see the condensation building up on the grass and on everything, on the lane dividers, everything. So a relatively, but not a real muddy race. A little bit. I did have to use the sprayer one time I just used the pit sprayer one time to get the mud out of Tyler's wheels, just in case he got that other bike, he'd have clean wheels. But other than that, very little use by the power washers in the pit. Very little use by the pit in general. Kind of surprising. A lot of people were going down, but not really requiring pitting that much. I mean, there was a few, of course, but not a ton. So. Great way to start off the Jingle Cross weekend. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and get something up every day for you guys. These are going to be like mini episodes that I'm going to pop up for these World Cup weekends. I hope you dig it. They're just going to be very simple, straightforward, no intro and all that other stuff, no sponsors or anything like that for this stuff. This is just get stuff up there for you guys to kind of stay up on what's going on out on the course now. So it's bright, sunny today. It's supposed to be gorgeous all day. We're going to have a heck of a World Cup race today, I'm sure. So we can't wait for that. And I better get going to get ready for that. So, all right, I'm going to play the interview. It's not really an interview, just a little chat I did with Doug in the wee hours of the night or morning yesterday. And we'll hopefully, see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, I'm out. All right, Bike Shop CX listeners, viewers, I don't even know what to call them. I'm here with Doug. We could just call you Dougie Fresh. That's what you're probably more famously known as. Doug Nishimura. I got that right?
Yeah,
yes.
Nishimura.
Significant other of... Go ahead, you can say it.
Run for Funner.
Sonny Gilbert. We've been talking, Doug. You're probably been... You're in the lead for having been mentioned on the show the most times without actually having been on the show. Wouldn't you say?
That's probably true. That's
you listen,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we just wanted to rap a little bit about. We both had what a day, man. It's like, what time is it? It is 10:30 Central Time, and I've been up since 4 a.m. Eastern Time. What time did you get up? Not that early.
Not that early. It was, sun was up. That's
All
all.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
So we just had the C2 at Jingle Cross today. So what kind of like? When did you what was your day like today? What did you start doing bike wise? The night race, the famous night race at Jingle Cross. So like when do you start your day, and what kind of things do you do on a day like this with that night race?
Today being the first day of the weekend, our first day of weekend racing, it was pretty laid back and chilled.
Yeah.
I mean, bikes were set up last week before we put them in the trailer, and so it was just a matter of Sunny telling me when she wanted to pre-ride the course,
right.
and then we just she would run over, look at the course, come back. We go through make changes to what tire choices, set the tire pressure.
You guys talk about tire pressure basically like all day long, kind of thinking about it?
No.
Not so. Because it was really weird, man, with because I pitted for Tyler in the men's race, Tyler Cloutier, and like it's one of those times where it got colder today as at night, and then very humid, so everything got wet, right? Very quickly.
Right.
And I mean, even in the men's race, it was noticeably wetter at the end of the race than it was at the beginning, right?
Right.
In an hour.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so.
And that was one of our probably downfalls in the race is we looked at the course early on. We realized after yesterday's rain, when Sunny pre-rode the course, she ran her challenge Limas tires, and for pre-riding, which was fine. She knew that it was going to tack up, and we could go to a more medium tread.
Right.
So we chose at the beginning of the race to do a baby Limas on the front and then a Griffo on the rear.
Okay.
Which would have been perfect if the conditions stayed dry.
If they'd stayed right.
But they changed so quickly that even on the first lap, as she approached pit 1,
there's always, that is always a tricky turn here. That turn right coming into that pit 1. I mean, year after year on the Friday night race, that is a tricky. I've seen people crash there with no one around them.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
they just come around and boom, and they're on the ground.
Right.
It's like instantaneously.
Right.
So, very, very tricky. That's for sure. Now you guys, we're sitting here in this your beautiful Pactimo setup, right?
Yes.
This is new. I mean, I remember us talking at Indy last year, and you weren't in this lap of luxury.
No, we were probably in a 10x10.
And it was blowing over, and we were trying to hold it down and all that stuff. And now you guys got this nice new sponsor, and that's all going well. And how's that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They've been absolutely awesome. I mean, this year, the sponsors that we've worked out with or work with this year have been awesome. Pactimo on the apparel side. Sonny worked with Pactimo last year.
Right. And I got to say, who designed the jerseys that Caroline and Sonny are wearing? They are amazing. Usually, it seems like very colorful jerseys usually look kind of weird. These are just beautiful, man.
Yes.
I think they are awesome. Awesome jersey.
So that is actually a Pactimo design.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a twist on what they're calling their mountain camo.
Okay. That's a cool name for it. That's a good name.
So it's very cool. Spend a little time looking at it, you realize, okay, mountain camo is the appropriate name.
Yeah.
And so little known fact is if you remember Sonny's kits from last year with the blue and the, I'll call it pink, but the darker pink. We worked with a designer on those last year, and if you pay a little attention to it, you realize that the pink field on that is actually a DNA gel.
Oh,
Which
I've never noticed that.
Yes,
which makes fits Sunny perfectly.
Exactly. So it's a tie-in to her
career.
Right.
Her non-cycling career, I should say.
Exactly. Her biology background.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
But
now I'm going to want to go back and look at old pictures.
I'm sure there's probably kits on the trailer now that we could show you. But so we worked on those closely with a really good designer back in St. Louis on those. And I mean, great guy, he talked to us, then put this package together and gave us a presentation. And this was, I mean, he was a friend, and this was obviously his business.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we sat down with him, he gave us the story of how he came to this design, and then so on.
Yeah, cool.
Just like if we were some big corporate museum that he was designing.
Yeah. Wow. So there's a lot more. There's a lot in those, right? There's a lot there. Right?
There is a ton in those kits.
Yeah.
But the upside is now with the kits being colorful, photographers, I'm not a photographer, so I don't know all the details on it. So I'll preface that. But they tell us when they take photos that they use the auto zoom on the cameras, and the auto zoom picks up the brighter colors faster and clearer.
That's a good thing to know.
So when they really liked her kit because they could get great photos, very clear, great photos.
Gotcha.
Straight away without doing a whole lot of.
And what sponsor does not like that?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
That wasn't our main focus when they were.
It was just kind of a nice aside to the. Yeah, that's cool. Well, I also see some gorgeous head wheels over there. I don't know. You didn't mention the head wheels. That's new this year, right?
That is a new.
Head wheels and Challenge tires.
Head wheels, Challenge tires.
Man, that's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. I mean, the sport is equipment heavy.
Right. Sure.
But
and still the Van Dessel frames, right? Still getting the frames from Van Dessel. Yep. So that's cool. TNR tape. We were talking about that earlier.
TNR tape. Yep. Grimpier Brothers coffee.
Right. We got that going. That's cool.
Oh gosh, let's go down the list. So Lizard Skin, FSA,
nice.
Shimano,
Helinox,
camp chairs. I mean,
which you're sitting in right now.
I am comfortably.
I'm sitting in a different chair, but they look very pro.
They were so excited when we reached out to them. Said, "Hey, we've got this hangout area. We're gonna barbecue. We're gonna offer.
We need seating
places." And they're like, they're, and not so many words. They're like, so you're gonna go to 21 different events across the U.S. and you want our product to showcase.
They're like, we don't see a bad side, a downside for us.
Right,
what do you want?
Exactly. They're like, is that about right? And we're like, yes. They're like, I think we can help you out. And
well, that's cool. It's nice that they see the value in that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so.
And I mean, we don't need it here, but some of these chairs come with actual what they call warmers. So a downliner that we'll slide into. So we'll kick those out when
the weather gets cold.
As the season approaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, all right, well, we're sitting here this time of the season. It's Jingle Cross. It's the early World Cups in the U.S. What are you looking at? Tomorrow is obviously the World Cup race at Jingle Cross. It's on Saturday, as traditionally as it is now. What do you see happening tomorrow? In the women's race, you can do the women's race.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to pick a winner or anything, but just based on going by what the course is. What do we think?
Well,
any ideas?
Well, I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty much up in the air because right now, I mean, much like today, they were forecasting rain, then they weren't forecasting rain.
Yeah,
so the forecast was changing about hourly.
They're still saying it's going to be sunny, though, right? Not.
Last I looked.
Right.
Last I looked.
We just talked about the course changing in an hour, and now we're trying to predict tomorrow, for God's sake.
Exactly.
Well, that's cool. What are you thinking? Well, then your tires that you were looking at earlier today might be appropriate tomorrow, because race time tomorrow is a lot earlier.
Yes.
So you might be looking at the same kind of. Well, what did you say it was? Baby Limas Griffo? Baby Limas in the front?
Baby Limas in the front, Griffo in the rear.
So that might be a good combination for tomorrow, actually.
Yes.
Depending on what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
I also got a lot of rain yesterday, right? Or this morning? Or was it early this morning?
It was yesterday evening. So, through 10 o'clock there was a fair bit of rain.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's rained since.
Yeah.
But
so everything nice and tacked up right then.
Yeah.
And well, that's cool. And then are you guys sticking around? Are you going to be here Sunday for the
we'll
the C1?
Here. We'll be here Sunday.
That's one of the only 3 C1s in the U.S. this year. Yes. There's a lot of talk about that. How's that fitting into your guys' schedule?
Well, I mean, we were in Rochester for the first time last week, so it's really,
Does that mean is it affected? Like how do you? I mean, it's easier to get to the 3 C1s, but I think it's going to be interesting. And what is it going to do with the rest of the year? That when there's all these C2s, is it going to scramble that up a bit? And are we not going to have? How are we going to know where to go? You know what I'm saying?
Well, right. And so one of the things that we've thought about is, now you've got UCI points, and then you've got World Cup points.
Correct.
This is not new, but now they're starting to enforce it this year.
Right. So similar to mountain biking, the World Cup call-ups get based on World Cup points only, not UCI points. So that is new this year. Yeah.
So, with that being said, is typically we go to Belgium over Christmas.
Yeah.
And, the Christmas and New Year block. And because of your Sonny's UCI rankings, she usually gets a fairly decent call-up.
Right.
But that's off the table this year.
Yeah.
So, too early UCI points. And again, we're not 100% on if we're going back to Belgium this year.
Right. Okay.
So now the focus.
Sonny's in the trailers being like, "It's time to eat."
Yeah.
Were you saying it's time to eat? Or are you indicating it's time to eat?
You can eat. You don't have to wait.
We're not going to be too much longer. No. We're just going over stuff. So anyway, so that's still up in the air.
So with us going to Belgium is up in the air this year. The focus is now to hit the UCI.
Right. Yeah.
UCI points.
Yeah.
So Rochester last week.
Cincy's almost a must do.
Cincy will be a must.
Yeah.
It is a favorite, so
Any plans for Indy again this year? I'd love Indy. It's one of my favorite races.
I looked at the schedule. I was working on the races that Sonny had laid out this year, and I'm pretty sure it is.
Indy?
Indy.
Yeah, cool.
Indy.
Cool.
We are headed to Fayetteville.
Oh, okay.
Weeks.
All right.
That, obviously, since they're going to be, they want to be a player in the sport.
Yeah,
then we're going to go down.
I think they're going to become a regular spot every season, and everybody's going to kind of be going there. At least for the foreseeable future, for the next. Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think it's going to be. I don't even know what to predict. I don't know what I couldn't tell you what I think the weather is going to be. I can't tell you what I think is going to happen. It's just going to be crazy. Today, again in the men's race, I was pitting for Tyler, and he went down and basically busted his rear shifter. So going to be getting that fixed, and luckily he doesn't race tomorrow, so he's got a day to get that taken care of. So So yeah, it's just been a crazy day, crazy long day. But before we sign off, Doug, we got to say, we were going to say that the famous Bike Shop CX dangling levers episode.
Oh.
I had another person come up to me today to thank me for doing that episode because it helped them fix a set of brake levers. And I got to give credit where credit is due. That's all because of you. You're the one that told me about that, showed me that, and showed me where to go to find that information. And look at all the people that's helping.
You're welcome with that. But I can hardly take credit for that. It's just
you didn't know, but you knew about it. So that's
exactly,
good.
and that's and but that's the way. That's kind of, how do I put this? That's kind of how Cross is. It's more. It takes a community to raise a family. It takes everybody working together.
Even though everyone's technically on different teams, we're all kind of on one team.
Exactly.
It's the kind of like how it is.
And it just so happened that last year when you came across the dangling lever, it was something that I recently had experienced with our own bikes, and thankfully when I experienced it, it was
not 15 minutes before a race.
Not 15 minutes before the race, and I recognized it. We diagnosed it, and we jumped in together and
that was awesome.
Took care of it.
That was awesome.
But
well, cool, man. Good getting to have you on the show finally.
Yeah,
we'll have to do it more.
We will.
As the season goes on. Maybe at Indy if we're all there. We should be.
Indy.
We can sit down and chat some more. So we can pick your brain. Maybe if I'm got my act together, I can run some viewer questions by you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can answer them together. There we go.
We might be a little bit more prepared than just sitting down.
After people
a
have
race.
to understand. It's almost 11 o'clock at night, and we're like, what? Huh? But no, I just wanted to get something about how today went up, and I'm gonna post this. Maybe tonight, man. It's going up just like this. It's going up just like this.
Overachieving.
That's right. So, all right, man, Doug. Always a pleasure.
Thank you,
We'll
Scotty.
talk again soon.
Yes, sir.